My harvester was dead again, my wheat was dying, and I was one bad day away from selling the whole damn farm. 40 acres of dust, a barn older than my patience, and a generator that smoked just because it hated me. But all of that faded the moment I stepped into the field and saw them. 3 shapes. 2 small. 1 taller. Still as statues in the morning light. And when the sun finally touched them, I realized what I was looking at. Not ghosts. Not wanderers. Aliens, starving, exhausted, terrified. The mother dropped to her knees as soon as she saw me. Her voice cracked like it hurt to speak. Human, I will work your land. Fix your machines. Just feed my children. That moment changed everything. My farm. My future. My entire damn life. Helping them didn't just save theirs. It saved mine. The morning started like every other miserable morning that season. Me standing in my field, staring at machinery older than my sanity, wondering which of us would break first. The sky was a pale Kansas blue, thin and washed out, like even the weather didn't want to try anymore. My harvester sat in the middle of the wheat row like a defeated metal carcass, smoke lazily curling out of vents that had no reason to smoke. I had kicked it twice already. Didn't help. It never helped. Come on, I muttered, resting my hands on my hips. Just one more week. Just one. Then you can die and I can die, and the bank can dance on both our graves. The machine stayed dead. Rude. 40 acres of wheat, yellowed, patchy, and half dead from a drought the news kept calling unprecedented, which is code for you're screwed, buddy. The barn behind me creaked like a man dying in slow motion. And the generator? Every time I even looked at it, it puffed smoke out the side vent like an old man trying to impress someone with a cigarette trick. I stood there thinking the same thing I thought every morning now. How much longer can I keep this up? Not much, if I was being honest. I was one phone call away from losing the farm, one blown tire from giving up, and one bad day from selling everything I owned, including maybe a spare kidney, if the right buyer came along. And then, everything changed. It was the silence that tipped me off. The fields are never silent. There's always wind, insects, birds, the distant hum of someone's truck. But suddenly, the air went still in a way that felt wrong. Wrong like a predator watching you from tall grass. I turned. That's when I saw them. At first, all I saw were 3 silhouettes standing in the wheat. They looked like dark smudges against the rising sun, motionless, out of place. 2 small shapes clung to the sides of the larger one, like frightened barn kittens hiding in their mother's shadow. I squinted. Who the hell? The taller one moved. Slowly. Carefully. And when the sunlight crept up far enough to illuminate them, my breath caught in my throat. Not trespassers. Not drifters. Not human. Their skin shimmered a faint violet, faintly glowing like light pushed through lavender fog. The tall one, obviously the mother, stood nearly 7 feet tall, her frame lean and weary. Her hair fell past her shoulders in thin, silver-blue strands that looked like liquid metal in the dawn light. The 2 small ones, children maybe 5 or 6 in human years, clung to her legs. Their eyes were too big, too bright, pupils shaped like thin slits. Their clothes were torn, dusty, barely holding together. They didn't look dangerous. They looked lost, hungry, terrified, and for a second, I thought I must have fallen asleep inside the broken harvester and started hallucinating from heat stroke. But then the mother saw me. Her violet eyes widened, shimmering like a creature caught between hope and fear. She stepped forward, and then her legs buckled. She collapsed to her knees in the wheat. The kids gasped, scrambling to support her, but they were too small. Too weak. Too hungry. I didn't move. I couldn't. Fear? Sure. Confusion? Absolutely. But there was something else under it all, something sharp and instinctual. They weren't a threat. They were begging. Her voice came out cracked, like she hadn't spoken in days. Human, she whispered, head bowed so low her forehead nearly touched the ground. Please hear me. Her voice trembled in a way that pierced straight through the shock and lodged itself in my chest. She raised her head, just enough for me to see her eyes. Eyes full of desperation. Eyes of a mother who ran out of options long before she ran out of love. I will work your land, she said, each word strained. Fix your machines. Build whatever you wish. She lifted a shaking hand toward my dead harvester. Anything. I can repair it. I can make it better. Her voice broke entirely on the next words. Just please. She turned, placing her hand on one child's head, then the other. Please feed my children. One of the kids, tiny, fragile, eyes too big for the world, pulled closer to her, pressing its face into her arm. My heart punched the inside of my ribs. That kid wasn't faking hunger. I grew up around livestock, around people who'd had hard years and harder winters. I recognized the look of someone starving even when they tried to hide it. They needed help. Real help. And I stood there, a grown man who couldn't even keep his own farm alive, now staring at starving alien children kneeling in my wheat field, asking me, of all people, for mercy. When I didn't respond fast enough, the mother tried to speak again, but her voice cracked completely, collapsing into a sound that wasn't a word, just raw desperation. Hey, hey! I finally snapped out of it and took a step forward, palms raised. Don't do that. Please don't kneel. You don't have to kneel. But she stayed down, trembling. Please, she whispered. I offer myself in service. I have skills. I have survived much. Just feed them. Water them. Let them sleep somewhere safe. The tall grass swayed around us, and the weight of the moment pressed down on me like the sky itself had lowered. I swallowed hard. I don't even know your name, I said quietly. She lowered her head again, as if ashamed. Serena, she whispered. My name is Serena. My children, Mira and Tovi. The little ones peeked at me with glowing, frightened eyes. I nodded slowly. I'm Jack. Her gaze flickered at the name, her throat tightening. Jack, will you allow us to stay? Even just one night? We will not burden you. I promise on my life. She didn't sound like someone making a bargain. She sounded like someone with no choices left. I looked at my broken farm, my dead harvester, my failing wheat, my life falling apart one bill at a time. Then I looked back at Serena and her kids, kneeling in the dust of my dying field, begging for survival. Something clicked in me. Something old. Something human. I'm not letting kids starve on my land, I said. That's not how I was raised. Serena's breath hitched sharply. The kids blinked, stunned. But, I added quickly, holding up a hand before they misunderstood, I'm not doing this because I want servants, or workers, or payment. Her lips parted. I'm doing this, I said softly, because it's the right damn thing to do. For the first time, something flickered in Serena's eyes. Not fear, not desperation, but relief. A relief so deep it nearly broke her. She lowered her head again, but this time it wasn't in submission. It was gratitude. Raw, overwhelming gratitude. Thank you, Jack, she whispered. Thank you. I stepped forward, offering my hand to help her up. She hesitated only a moment before taking it. Her skin was warm, soft, shaking violently. The kids clung to her as she stood. Come on, I said quietly. Let's get you three inside. We'll figure the rest out later. As we walked toward the farmhouse, every blade of wheat seemed to rustle like the field itself was whispering a warning. You have no idea what you've just brought home. And it was right. This wasn't charity. This wasn't kindness. This was the beginning of something far larger than either of us understood. Because helping them didn't just save their lives. It saved mine. And it was about to rewrite everything I thought I knew about humanity, survival, and the future we thought we were destined for. The house felt strangely small with 3 aliens inside it. Like the walls weren't used to holding so much fear. Or maybe I just wasn't used to seeing eyes that wide staring back at me. The 2 little ones stuck close to their mother, tiny hands clutching her clothes as if letting go would somehow break the universe. I didn't blame them. Crash landing on a dying farmer's land in the middle of rural Kansas probably wasn't on their travel itinerary. The mother, her name was Sarah, I'd learned, sat stiffly at the edge of my kitchen chair, her shoulders still trembling. The kids hid partially behind her, peeking out like nervous kittens. The boy had silver markings across his forehead. The girl had bioluminescent freckles that shimmered whenever she got scared. Which was often. Every time the refrigerator hummed, both flinched. Easy, I said soft as I could. It's just the fridge turning on. Sarah watched me carefully, studying every move, measuring danger the way farmers measure rainfall. Obsessively, because every drop counts. Her voice finally broke the silence, strained but steadier than earlier. You feed my children first? I nodded. Yeah, of course. I opened the pantry, grabbed bread, peanut butter, honey, simple, quick. I had no idea what alien biology could digest, but they'd eaten the biscuits out in the field fast enough, so I guess carbs weren't lethal. The kids watched every motion like it was magic. When I placed the plates on the table, they didn't move. Not until Sarah nodded. Then they devoured the food like they hadn't eaten in days. Maybe weeks. Sarah didn't touch her plate. You should eat, I said. She shook her head. Mother eats last. Not in my house, I countered gently. Eat. Her eyes flicked up at me, sharp, surprised, confused. No one had said that to her in a long time. Maybe ever. Slowly, she reached for the bread, sniffed it, then took a bite. Her whole body shuddered. Warm, she whispered. You gave us warm food. That shouldn't have hit me the way it did, but it did. Hard. Their clothes were thin. Torn. Dust-covered. Not made for Earth's morning cold. Their shoes were scraps of fabric wrapped around their feet. They weren't travelers. They were survivors. After breakfast, I stepped outside to breathe. The sun was climbing higher, lighting up the fields in a golden haze. Beautiful, if you ignored the fact half the wheat was sick or dying. The farm felt different now. Not mine alone anymore. The weight of responsibility settled on my shoulders like a familiar old coat. Heavy, worn, but not unwelcome. I'd made a choice bringing them in. Now I had to live with it. Human. I turned. Sarah stood in the doorway, kids clinging to her legs again. The sunlight made her lavender skin glow faintly. You said you wished to speak. I gestured for her to come out, and when she hesitated, I added, the yard's safe. No one around for miles. She stepped onto the porch, taking in the expanse of open land, like she'd never seen so much space before. What were you doing in my field? I asked. Her jaw tightened. Escaping. From what? She looked away. A war born far from here. One we could not win. The wind rustled the wheat. Sarah's voice dropped. My children and I fled in a stolen shuttle. It was damaged. We fell from the sky. And the rest of your people? There was a long pause. Gone, she whispered. She didn't cry. She didn't even break. She had already broken long before she reached me. I exhaled slowly. You're safe here. Nobody's going to hurt you. Her eyes softened, just a little. I do not understand you, human. You owe us nothing. Yet you give us everything. Call me Mark. Mark. She repeated it softly, as though tasting the name. I will repay the food, the shelter, your mercy. You don't have to. I do, she insisted. Honor demands it. And survival. I tried to argue, but she lifted a hand. I repair machines. All machines. You said your harvester died. 4 times this month, I muttered. Things cursed. I will fix it, she said with quiet certainty. And I will fix anything else you own. Engines. Circuits. Power systems. It is what I was bred for. Bred for? She corrected herself. Trained for. A lie, but one she clearly didn't want to unpack yet. Well, I said, rubbing the back of my neck, if you're set on it, the harvester's out behind the barn. She bowed her head. Then I begin now. Before I could stop her, she strode toward the barn like she already knew the layout of my land. Her children scrambled after her, tiny legs pumping hard. I sighed. I should have told her to rest. She needed sleep, not work. But for people like her, people on the run, work wasn't just survival. It was dignity. The harvester sat behind the barn like a dying beast, half rusted, half oil stain, wholly cursed. Sarah circled it slowly, her hands hovering just above the metal surface. Then she touched it. A faint pulse of violet light rippled from her fingertips, soft, barely visible, gone in an instant. But I saw it. What was that? I asked. Assessment. Assessment? You scan machines with your hands? She tilted her head. Do humans not? No, Sarah. We don't. She didn't laugh. She didn't even smile. She simply returned to the machine, reached into a panel I'd opened a dozen times, and pulled out a fist-sized component. This is the heart, she said. That's the part the mechanic said needed replacing, I muttered. She shook her head. He lied. What? This is not broken. Just misaligned. Her hands moved quickly, confidently. Too confidently for someone half-starved and exhausted. Push. Twist. Adjust. The movements were precise. Delicate. Not random. Done, she said. That's it. That is it. I climbed into the harvester, turned the key, and... It started. Smoothly. Perfectly. No coughing. No complaining. No threat of spontaneous combustion. I stared at her. How? She brushed dust off her hands. My people are innovators. Machines speak to us. That machine's been screaming for years. Then it is grateful, she said. For the first time, very slowly. She smiled. It wasn't a big smile. Barely a curve of her lips. But on her guarded face, after everything she'd survived, it hit like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Her kids laughed, actual laughter, as the harvester hummed steadily behind us. For the first time in a long time, my farm felt alive. We walked back toward the house. The kids ran ahead, chasing each other through the grass. Sarah walked beside me, her posture calmer now, less like a hunted animal, and more like someone cautiously beginning to trust. "You saved me some trouble," I said. "And a mechanic bill." "I will fix more," she replied. "Your generator is unhappy." "That's one way to put it." She hesitated. "Mark, may I ask a question?" "Shoot. Why did you help us?" The honesty in her voice nearly stopped me in my tracks. "I don't know," I answered truthfully. "Maybe because you needed help. Maybe because—" I looked at my land. The dying wheat. The sagging barn. The empty house. Maybe I needed it too. She watched me quietly. Not judging. Not analyzing. Just seeing me. And for reasons I didn't understand, that meant something. Back inside, I poured her a glass of water. She stared at it like she wasn't sure if she deserved it. Then she drank slowly, savoring every sip. Her children curled up on the couch, exhaustion finally dragging them under. Sarah seemed to fight sleep, blinking hard. "You don't need to work now," I told her. "Rest. All of you." Her voice softened. "Thank you, Mark." She leaned back in the chair. Her eyes fluttered. And for the first time since I found her in my field, she let herself fall asleep. I stood there for a long time, watching her breathe, listening to the quiet, feeling something shift in the bones of my old house. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was the start of something bigger. Maybe it was the beginning of the most dangerous mistake of my life. But deep down, beneath fear and doubt, one truth settled in my chest. Whatever happened next, I wasn't letting this family face it alone. Sarah slept for nearly 14 hours. I didn't wake her. Didn't need to. Didn't dare. Anyone who had fled across galaxies with 2 children and no food had earned every second of rest the universe still owed them. Her kids, Ryan and Luna, slept curled together on the couch like a pair of exhausted foxes. Every so often, Luna's glowing freckles flickered softly, pulsing like fireflies trapped under her skin. I watched them with concern until I realized it happened each time she breathed deeper. Calm. Warm. Safe. My old farmhouse hadn't seen kids in years. Not since my sister's little ones came to visit 3 summers back. Funny how fast a place changes when it's needed again. The sun was setting by the time Sarah finally stirred. She blinked her eyes open slowly, the purple shimmer brightening as the room came into focus. When she saw me sitting nearby, she bolted upright. "How long?" "Relax," I said quickly. "A day didn't end without you. You're fine." Her gaze darted toward the kids, checking them with the instinct of someone who'd spent months living on a knife's edge. "They're okay," I assured. "Federal sleeping. Safe." That last word, safe, made her shoulders loosen just a little. She rose carefully, stretching stiff muscles. "Thank you, Mark," she said softly. "You have given us more than any of my kind received on your world. You're the first of your kind I've ever met." She gave a faint huff. Not quite laughter. Not quite disbelief. Something between. "Then perhaps I should explain." She motioned toward the table. I sat. She sat across from me, hands clasped, expression colder now, like she was bracing to dig up old wounds. "My people," she began slowly, "are the Velnari. A quiet species. Builders, thinkers. Never warriors. You repaired my harvester in 10 minutes, I said. That's more than most warriors can do." She dipped her head. "It is our only strength. Innovations. Machines. Power systems. We are born for them." Her voice tightened. "So others take advantage. Others like the ones who attacked you?" Her silence was answer enough. I waited. She continued. "We lived under a dominion. A cruel one. They took our inventions, our designs, forced us to create weapons we could never bring ourselves to use." She swallowed hard. "When we refused to build one particular device, they purged our enclave. My city burned. My mate died shielding the children." My throat tightened. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I do not speak of this to seek your sorrow," she said firmly. "I speak because lies cannot protect us anymore." A long moment passed. Then she whispered, "The Dominion hunts us still." Something cold slid down my spine. "Hunts you? Here? On Earth? They will track our shuttle's beacon eventually. They always track the runaways." I leaned forward. "How many runaways are we talking?" 4 shuttles fled," she said. "We were one of them. I do not know if the others survived." "And what does the Dominion do to escapees?" Her jaw clenched so hard the muscles trembled. "They erase them. Erase. Not kill. Erase. like they were data on a hard drive. I forced myself to exhale slowly. Well, they're not finding you here. Earth isn't exactly on the galactic map, right? We're pretty out of the way. Sarah hesitated. The hesitation told me more than anything she could have said. They will come, she whispered. Even to your world. The room suddenly felt smaller. But before fear could settle its claws in me, Luna stirred on the couch. She mumbled something in Valnari, a soft childlike whimper. Sarah's expression melted instantly, replaced by maternal tenderness. She rose, tucked a blanket around her daughter, stroked her head. The world could burn, and a mother would still pause to comfort her child. When the kids woke, hungry and groggy, I warmed up a pot of vegetable stew. They sniffed it with suspicion at first, but the moment they tasted it, they both inhaled it like they hadn't eaten in a year. Probably because they hadn't eaten this way in, maybe ever. Sarah ate slowly, carefully, as if rationing every bite out of instinct. You can take seconds, I told her. She blinked. Seconds. More food. She froze like I'd offered her a kingdom. You have more? Yes. For all of us? Yes. Something in her cracked at that. Not loudly. Barely visible. But I saw it. A flicker of disbelief so pure it twisted something inside me. She bowed her head slightly. Then thank you, truly. We ate in silence. Not awkward. Not heavy. Just peaceful. Maybe the first peace she'd had in years. After dinner, I checked the barn. And there it was. The generator, the stubborn metal demon, was humming perfectly. Sarah stepped into the barn behind me, watching quietly. You fixed this too? She nodded. It needed proper alignment and infusion. Infusion of what? She raised a glowing hand, the faint purple light flickering across her fingertips. Oh, I breathed. That. This is normal for my species, she said. We manipulate energy channels. Electrical systems respond to us. So you're what? Living circuit boards? Something like that. She tilted her head. You are not frightened. I shrugged. I've been more scared watching my fuel prices go up. That got her. A genuine smile, small, shy but real. If all humans were like you, Mark, she said softly, my people would have fled to your world long ago. Something warm fluttered in my chest. Before I could ruin the moment by saying something stupid, Luna rushed into the barn waving a wrench twice her size. Human Mark. Mama says this is yours. I took it, laughing. Thanks, Luna. Rai followed behind her, staring at the generator with bright silver eyes. Human Mark, your machines are sad, he said gravely. I choked. Yeah, kid. They really are. Sarah placed a gentle hand on his head. Do not insult our host's machinery. But they cry, Mama, Rai replied earnestly. He wasn't being metaphoric. His species literally heard machines. That was incredible. Terrifying, but incredible. As dusk settled over the farm, the sky deepened to a violet hue, not unlike the shade of Sarah's skin. She stood outside with me, arms crossed as the kids played near the porch. Mark, she said quietly, we may stay through the night, yes? You can stay as long as you need. She inhaled sharply, like I'd punched her with kindness. You understand this binds you to danger, she warned. If they track us here, we'll deal with that when it comes. You speak as if you have weapons, she murmured. I nodded toward the barn. Shotgun, rifle, and a tractor that can flatten anything smaller than a barn. She stared at me like she couldn't believe what she'd just heard. Then, your courage is irrational. Welcome to Earth. A faint laugh escaped her, breathy and disbelieving. But behind that laugh, fear was returning. Mark, she said quietly, there is something you should know. Something about why the Dominion wants us. I turned fully toward her. Okay, tell me. Her eyes shimmered softly in the dark. My people did not flee only because we were hunted. She swallowed, voice trembling. We fled because I carry something inside me. Something they need. My pulse spiked. What kind of something? She hesitated. Her lips parted. Then, boom. A shockwave rattled the windows of the house. The barn lights flickered. Dust fell from the rafters. The kids screamed. I grabbed Sarah's wrist. Inside. Now. But Sarah wasn't looking at the house. She was staring at the sky. Purple lightning rippled across the stars, unnatural, jagged, silent. Her voice dropped to a whisper that chilled me to the bone. They found us. The sky tore open in a flash of violet lightning. Not real lightning. Not anything Earth had ever seen. This was controlled. Precise. Artificial. A gravitational shockwave tearing through the upper atmosphere, bending physics like it was nothing more than fabric being pulled. Sarah froze. Her eyes widened, pure terror slicing through every calm mask she'd worn until now. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, this fast? They shouldn't have found us this fast." I grabbed her shoulders. "Syrah, look at me. What's coming?" She swallowed, voice cracking. "A Dominion seeker craft. They're scouts. They track refugees. And when they find them," she trembled violently, "they call the harvest ships." The name alone made my stomach drop. Behind us, Rye and Luna screamed and ran toward their mother. Syrah snatched them up, arms tight around both. Their glowing freckles flickered wildly, panic broadcasting like tiny strobe lights across their skin. "Mama," Luna whimpered. "They found us?" "Yes," Syrah whispered, pressing her forehead to her daughter's. "But I won't let them take you. Not again." I looked up at the sky. A dark shape was pushing through the clouds. Triangular. Sharp-edged. A ship built for speed and scanning, not combat, thank God, but still nothing Earth had any business dealing with. "Syrah," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "Does it land? Attack? What does it do?" "It marks us," she said bitterly. "It tags the ground with a beacon. Their warship will jump to the signal." "How long between tagging and arrival?" "A few hours. Less if they're close. A few hours." Meaning sunset might be the last quiet moment this farm would ever see. I forced myself to move. "Inside," I said. "Now. All of you." We rushed into the house, slamming the door behind us like that would stop a ship from deep space. The kids clung to Syrah. Syrah clung to control. She paced my living room, eyes darting, chest heaving, whispering calculations in her language, equations like prayers. "Syrah," I said, "talk to me. We need a plan." Her eyes snapped toward me, glowing with desperation. "You cannot help us, Mark. You don't understand. If they take me, they take everything." "What everything?" She hesitated, and then she finally told me. "When the Dominion demanded a new weapon," she began, "the council of my city refused. We are creators of machines that heal, that grow, that make life easier, not destroy." She hugged her children closer. "The Dominion did not accept refusal." My throat tightened. "They attacked your people? They purged every engineer, every scientist, anyone who could think beyond simple labor." She closed her eyes. But before the purge reached my lab, I finished something I should never have built. She reached inside her coat, pulling out a smooth, fist-sized crystal sphere. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "This," she whispered, "is the Calith core." I stared. "And what does it do?" Her voice was so soft I almost missed it. "It creates energy, infinite energy. Clean, stable, and accessible to any device it touches." My mind stopped. Dead halted. "Syrah, you built a perpetual energy generator?" "Yes," she breathed. "My people could have powered entire worlds with it. Ended scarcity. Ended hunger. Ended war." Her eyes darkened. But the Dominion saw only military power. Weapons powered infinitely. War machines that never needed fuel. Fleets that could burn planets without stopping. A chill slid down my spine. "So they want you because you're the one who built it?" "No," she corrected. "They want me because I am the only one who can make another." She held the sphere tighter. "And this prototype, they want it most of all." I stared at her. At the core. At the glowing terror reflected in its surface. "Syrah, that's world-changing. For everyone. For better or worse," she whispered. Behind us, the floor trembled. A deep hum vibrated the windows. The seeker ship was lowering into the wheat field. "We don't have time," she said desperately. "They're scanning the area now." "Then we move," I said. "You're not staying here." She shook her head. "We cannot outrun them. Our shuttle burst on entry. You fix my harvester in minutes. Can you fix the shuttle?" "No. Its core imploded. Beyond repair." I cursed under my breath. But then my eyes shot toward the barn. "The truck." Syrah blinked. "Truck?" "Yes. Old beat up, ugly as hell, but it runs. And it'll get you far away from here." "Where would we go?" "Every Dominion ship will track our energy trail." "Then we don't give them a trail," I said firmly. I grabbed my keys, yanked open the gun cabinet, and slung the rifle over my shoulder. "Mark," Syrah gasped. "You can't fight them." "Not planning to," I snapped. "I'm planning to slow them down." "Slow them?" "The Dominion will kill you. Not if I'm just the distraction." Her eyes widened in horror. "No. No, Mark, I will not let another person die because of me. And I'm not letting them take you or the kids," I said. "We don't have time to argue." The walls shook again as the seeker ship's scanners activated, sending faint ripples through the house. I grabbed Syrah's hand. It was trembling. "Syrah," I said quietly, "trust me." She stared at me, searching, terrified, desperate. Then something broke. Or healed. Or both. She nodded. "Right. Luna. Pack what you can carry," she said, voice trembling but strong. "We leave now." We ran through the back door, staying low as the seeker ship's spotlight swept across the front field like a searching eye. Syrah carried Luna. Rai clung to my hand. His little fingers were cold with fear. "Human Mark," he whispered. "Are we going to die?" "No," I told him. "Not today. Not on my farm." We slipped into the barn, the doors closing silently behind us. My truck sat in the corner, scratched, dented, loud as a dying bull, but loyal. Syrah stared at it like it was a myth. "This transports humans?" "Barely," I muttered. "But it'll get you moving." She didn't smile. "Not this time." I opened the passenger door for her and the kids. Luna crawled in, curling into her mother's lap. Rai climbed in after her, clutching the core like it was a stuffed toy. Syrah turned to me from the passenger seat, voice shaking. "Mark, if you stay behind." "I'll meet you," I lied. She heard the lie. Her people could sense emotional spikes the way I sense smoke. Her breath hitched. "You saved us," she whispered. "Let me save you." "You did," I said. "You fixed my life the moment you walked into my field. Time to return the favor." Her eyes shimmered. "Please," she whispered. "Don't do this." But I already had. I grabbed the edge of the door, then touched her hand. It was warm. Alive. A mother's hand. A survivor's hand. "Protect your kids," I said softly. "That's all that matters." The ship overhead hummed again. A sharp beam of light cut across the barn roof. They were scanning. Seconds left. I stepped back from the truck. "Syrah," I said, when I opened the barn doors drive. "Don't look back." Her voice cracked. "Mark. Go." I grabbed the barn ropes, took a deep breath, and pulled. The barn doors exploded open. The seeker ship's spotlight snapped toward us instantly, and I sprinted straight into it, rifle raised, shouting to draw every ounce of attention I could. Behind me, the truck roared to life. Syrah screamed my name. I didn't turn. Couldn't. If I looked at her, I'd falter. I ran straight toward the ship instead. "Hey!" I yelled. "Down here, you metal bastard." The spotlight centered on me. A beam of blue energy charged in the ship's belly. "Come on," I snarled between my teeth. "Hit me. Hit me, you coward." The truck engine howled behind me. The ship aimed, and everything went white. The sky above my farm had never looked like this before. 2 suns bleeding through purple-tinted storm clouds, the alien ship hovering like a cracked moon just above my fields, and soldiers from 2 different worlds standing in a shaky ceasefire between my wheat rows. And in the center of it all, me, a simple farmer with a broken harvester, 40 acres of dying land, and 3 alien refugees who had somehow become my family. But now I stood between the Varnath recovery squad, armed and cold, and Lyra, who held her children behind her like a shield made of desperation. "You cannot take us back," she shouted at them, voice trembling but fierce. "Not after what you did. Not after what we endured." The commander, a tall silver-skinned Varnithi with armor that looked carved from crystal knives, pointed a luminescent blade at her. "You do not get to choose. You are property of the crown. You ran. You hid. And now you return." I stepped forward before Lyra could answer. "She's not property," I growled. "Not here. Not anymore." The commander turned his cold, faceted eyes toward me. "You are a human farmer. You have no standing in this matter." "True. Completely true." Yet I didn't move. "Then I'll grow one," I said. "Right here. Right now." For the first time, the commander hesitated. Maybe humans were supposed to be docile, weak, obedient. Maybe in their star systems, a dirt-covered farmer wasn't much of anything. But here, on Earth, on my land, I stood my ground. And that was the moment everything changed. Tala and Bren, the kids who once hid behind their mother like frightened shadows, sprinted to me. Bren grabbed my leg. Tala stood in front of me, like she was guarding me. "Don't take us," she shouted at the commander. "He saved us. He feeds us. You hurt us." The Varnath soldiers shifted uneasily. Children's voices are universal. Accusation hits deeper when spoken by the people you failed the most. Lyra's breath hitched. Tears shimmered in her violet eyes. Commander Ravel raised a hand, signaling silence. Your suffering is regrettable, he said, though he said it like someone reading the word from a dictionary. But that does not excuse desertion. Desertion? I barked. They were slaves. The commander flinched, just barely. Varnath law forbade slavery by name, but practiced it through loopholes wide enough to fly a cruiser through. Lyra stepped beside me, chin lifted. Commander, we claim human sanctuary. For the first time, everyone froze. Even the wind seemed to hesitate. Because that phrase, those two words, were old. Ancient. A forgotten diplomatic relic from the earliest human-alien treaties. I whispered, "You knew about that?" She nodded. "I searched Earth protocols every night while you slept. You saved us. I knew one day I might need to save you too. Damn. Sometimes you don't realize how much someone means to you until the world tries to take them away." Commander Ravel hissed. "That treaty is centuries old. It has never been invoked." I shrugged. "First time for everything." He stepped forward. "You cannot shelter fugitives of another sovereign world." I stood taller. "Don't care." Ravel's crystalline mask cracked with raw frustration. "You risk interstellar conflict." "Been a rough year already," I said. "What's one more problem on the pile?" Behind me Lyra shook, terrified but resolute. Her hand brushed mine. Just a touch, but enough to make me feel like I could stand against a fleet, a planet, a universe. The rumble started as a distant hum. A second later, 4 black trucks rolled up along my dirt road, kicking dust into the alien light. UNESF, United Nations Extrasolar Force. Humanity's last, strained attempt at managing alien contact. Colonel Reeves stepped out of the lead truck, sunglasses on, jaw set, his look saying, "This is the absolute last thing I wanted to deal with today." He approached me like a man walking toward a tornado. "Baker," he sighed, "what the hell did you do now?" "I didn't do anything," I said, "except give a family a chance." He looked at Lyra, at her children, at the Varnath soldiers, then back at me. "You invoked sanctuary, didn't you?" I nodded. He closed his eyes like he wanted to evaporate. "You farmers are going to kill me," he muttered. Then louder to Ravel. "Per Article 10 of the Pact, Earth recognizes the sanctuary claim." Ravel snarled. "This planet is primitive. We do not recognize." Reeves cut him off. "You landed here, on our soil, our rules, and you will go to war over 3 fugitives?" Ravel demanded. "Not my call," Reeves said. "But I'll tell you something." He paused, removed his sunglasses, looked Ravel dead in the eye. "This man has fed half this county during drought years. He fixes machinery no one else can. He saved my brother's farm after the fire. If he says these refugees deserve protection, then damn it, they deserve protection." I didn't expect that. Ravel definitely didn't. Lyra exhaled sharply, as if hope finally had room to breathe. Ravel wasn't finished. He gestured sharply, and 2 soldiers dragged forward an object, a silver cube, pulsing with violet light. A memory stone. Lyra gasped. No, you cannot." Ravel activated it. A holographic replay erupted into the air. Lyra on a Varnath mining moon, carrying loads she was too small for, being struck when she faltered, her children forced to watch. Punishments. Exhaustion. Starvation. Escape attempts beaten down. Every cruelty. Every hurt. Every moment of humiliation. The children clutched each other. People cried. Even Reeves looked away. Ravel's voice cut through the horror. "These are classified penal labor recordings. She was sentenced for stealing royal property." Lyra fell to her knees. "I stole nothing," she whispered. "I refused to surrender my daughter when the overseer demanded her." Suddenly everything clicked. Her running. Her terror. Her willingness to work herself to collapse just to keep her kids safe. I knelt beside her. "You did the right thing," I murmured. Ravel raised his weapon again. "She resists. She will face full punishment." "And what is that?" I asked. Silence. The answer was in the stone. A slow death in the mines. Or worse, having her children taken. No. Not happening. Not while I still breathed. A sound split the air, deep, mechanical, furious. My harvester. The same one that had died a dozen times on me. The same one Lyra spent weeks fixing. It rolled out from behind the barn on autopilot mode. Because she had rebuilt its AI system. The harvester aimed its massive header blades toward the Varnath soldiers. Everyone scattered. Ravel jerked back. "You dare threaten the commander?" The harvester stopped inches from him. I raised a hand. "It's not a threat," I said. "It's a message." Reeves crossed his arms. Varnath Commander, you are surrounded. Human law applies. Retreat to orbit and file your claim through diplomatic channels. Ravel growled, crystalline armor vibrating. This is not over, human. Good, I said. Because neither is the harvest. The Varnath retrieved their cube, their pride, and their threat, and lifted off in a burst of violet light. The field went quiet. Finally. Deeply. Painfully. Quiet. Reeves oversaw the withdrawal, then turned to me. You're insane, he said. But you're also the reason 3 people are alive. He gave Lyra a softer look. You and your kids are safe, as long as you remain here under sanctuary protection. Then he left. Lyra stared at the ground. Why? She whispered. Why do all of this for us? I stepped closer, because someone needed to. Her voice broke. No human owed us anything. Maybe not, I said. But I did. How? She asked, confused. Because you saved my farm, my life, my purpose, and because somewhere along the way, I swallowed. You became more than just a guest. She met my eyes. Her hand trembled. I took it gently. The kids watched us, wide-eyed but hopeful. Are we family now? Bren asked. I looked down at him, then at Lyra, then at Tala, and I nodded. If you want to be. They all embraced me at once, a pile of small arms and shaking shoulders. And Lyra, she leaned into me with a quiet, fragile relief I'd never forget. Months passed. The wheat recovered. The farm thrived. The harvester ran smoother than it ever had. Tala learned to weld. Bren learned to drive. Lyra learned to laugh again. And me? I learned that sometimes family isn't something you're born into. Sometimes it falls from the sky in the worst moment of your life. Right when you need it most. The Varnath never returned. Earth authorities made sure of that. And as I stood with Lyra and the kids watching the twin suns rise over the fields, her hand finding mine without hesitation, I realized something simple, something profound. I didn't save them. We saved each other. And together, we grew a harvest no army could take. The harvest of a new beginning. The family we chose. The future we made. And it all started with a broken machine and 3 refugees in a dying field.